also on the music art itself as we look at that. And it's very important, I think, to keep artists like Les Paul and a lot of the folks that will be performing tonight out in the open, so that other generations can appreciate and also understand and learn and be influenced by all of us.
You talk about reaching to younger generations. I mean, I think one of the neat things about a series like this is that it kind of shows the lineage of rock. It helps connect the dots for younger fans who may not understand what it took.
Yeah, well, we started in 1958, and we called ourselves the Versatones at that time. And we went to register the name, and thank God it was already taken. So we came up with the name of the Ventures in 1959, and 18 months later we had a #2 hit in the nation, which was Walk Don't Run. But my influence from the early times, a lot of different guitar players. Dwayne Eddy was a big influence on me, but Les Paul and Mary Ford, before I ever even picked up a guitar, unbelievable. I love that. I mean, I have a whole Les Paul greatest hits that I play a lot. And I appreciate him a lot. He's fantastic.
One of the things that we're doing today also in the program is that we're participating in a conference at Case Western University where we're going to discuss contributions of Les Paul, but also the influences that Les Paul has had on us. And it's a very interesting, talking about the younger generation and influencing them, it's almost a cyclic process. And a lot of times, a lot of younger generation won't know about some of the older artists until they say that they were influenced by certain people, because a lot of people will look at this and hopefully go back and look at the Les Paul discography and music and things that he did, and then subsequently look at the Ventures and Lonnie Mack and Dwayne and a lot of other, and be influenced all over again and reinterpret that in a whole different manner.
You guys are Hall of Famers yourselves.
Yes.
Tell us, when you found out you were being inducted, what was your reaction?
That was great, absolutely great. We were very excited about that. And I always say I don't like the word posthumously, so I'm glad we got in when we did.
What was it like, the actual induction?
Oh, it was so exciting. I mean, we met Billy Joel. He was backstage. And, we get a lot of compliments ourselves. He said, Billy Joel, one of the first songs I ever learned on the piano was Walk Don't Run. So we've influenced a few people ourselves.
It was a little intimidating to get up in a televised event, and especially when you're a musician, and not only accept the awards, but also look out at the audience, because when we did this and we looked out at the audience, the first guy I saw when I looked down was Chevy Chase, and he's looking up at us waiting to say something, and then 2 tables down is Tom Hanks. Yeah. So it was a little bit intimidating, but everyone was just absolutely great.
And it was great that John Fogerty introduced us,
and
because
did a great job.
He's one of our favorites too.
What has becoming a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame meant to you guys? Not only professionally, but also personally.
Yeah, Bob?
Well, I think that it's an honor that you realize that very few groups get. And I think we're still dealing with that in terms of, how we feel about that. And because it's always a surprise now when we go and do our shows. And they always announce that we're recent inductees to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and everybody just, goes crazy and very appreciative of that. But I think in terms of what it's done for us professionally and what it's done for us personally is that it's an amazing award, once in a lifetime thing that you never really think that you're going to get, and when you do, you still don't believe it. At least Noki doesn't.
I think Noki has something to say about Les Paul.
Yeah, when I was, back in 1951, on the other one, I did that probably 4 or 5 times. And this guy took it down to Oregon. I was living in Washington. and he took it to Oregon, and they had it on the radio, named the artist, and people was calling in Les Paul.
Overdubbing master yourself.
Yeah.
Can I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
We've been around. We're going to be celebrating. The group will be celebrating its 50th anniversary next year, and so we've been through a lot of experiences per se. But I did want to mention that one of our key members, Bob Bogle, can't be with us today, and we want to recognize him because he's also an honoree to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and a very influential guitar and bassist. And also influenced by Les Paul, too.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All of us,
Yeah.
Yeah.
really.
And have any of you guys who sat down and played with Les before, or will tonight be their first time?
First time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're looking forward to that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's going to be great.
that'd be great.
One quick thing, you
Yeah.
know, did you ever in your wildest imagination, when you started, all met together, started playing,
Yeah.
think that your whole life would be music and rock and roll, and this would happen? I mean, that when you were 18, did you ever think you were going to be a musician?
Oh,
your whole
no,
life?
no. Well, the way I learned, my mom had an instrument called a tipple. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that. It's tuned like a ukulele, but it's got 10 strings, and some of them are steel and some wound, and they're in octaves. And she used to play that thing and sing, and it really got me interested in. I wanted to play something like that, but when I was a kid. Tommy Dorsey. I loved the sound of the trombone, so I took trombone lessons, and I got through the Army playing the trombone in a regimental band. And when I got back home, I met my partner, Bob Bogle, and he and I both worked construction, actually. And we bought 2 guitars in a pawn shop in 1958, bought chord books, learned how to play them, and a year and a half later, we had, 18 months later, we had Walk Don't Run went to number 2. Then along the way, we met Noki, who's been playing guitar since he was 5 years old. So, that combination just worked out absolutely great and very successful.
Well, to play music and actually get paid for it, doing something that you really enjoy.
That's right.
I've been playing since I was 12 years old, and the Venture's been a big influence on me, and my father especially. And when he passed away in '96, and I joined the band, it was like I never even in my wildest dreams thought I'd be playing with the Ventures. And unfortunately, my dad passed away that put me in this position. But it's a once in a lifetime thing to be able to do something that you really enjoy, for a living.
And Bob, you can tell them about Japan.
Well, it's interesting. When the guys first started playing and they first started their hits, Walk Don't Run, I was actually living with my family in Japan. And around 1962, when they made their first trip to Japan, I got to see them. And it was only Don Wilson and Bob Bogle. And so it was very strange for me to, years later, to end up playing with the Ventures that influenced me and being a part of the group for so many years. So that's kind of a strange story, but one that's certainly special to
And he's been with us now for off and on for 25 years. But Bob retired about 3 or 4 years ago. Well, he still recorded with us, but Bob has taken over Bob Bogle's place, and he's doing a real good job. Sounds like him.
And Leon mentioned Mel, his dad, and who's also an honoree. And I know Mel had influences both in jazz and country, and I know if he was here, he would also express his influences in terms of Les Paul and what they meant to him.
Anything else, Margaret? Anything you want to add?
She's out.
Oh, okay. We miss anything? I don't think so.
No, anyway, I just want to say Les Paul is the man. He is the man.
Yeah.